35 या वो जो Su-57 क्या?
Hi, Su-57 is junk. Let's be clear about it. Let me show you some of the. Just bring up my.
You tweeted some. तेरे Twitter पे जो तूने नहीं किया ना?
Bring up the reply tweet. I want to show you this.
हाँ रुक, मैं कर रहा हूँ. मैं अभी कर रहा हूँ.
With the photos.
हाँ हाँ, मैं वही ला रहा हूँ. हाँ हाँ. I'm putting the photos up. There you go. This one, right?
Correct.
This is the tweet. Yes.
Right. Now, see, one of the biggest emitters of the way a radar works is a beam is sent. It then, if there is something there, it reflects back. That is how a radar detects. Now, one of the biggest reflectors is the fan of the engine. Okay. So, if you show the second photo now, can you see how much of the engine is exposed? It's literally, it's like a neon sign up in the air.
Come hit me.
Come hit me. Okay. Now I want to show you what a serpentine S duct looks like in both in practice and in.
मेरे को DM कर दे. I can keep putting it up.
Theory. Okay.
मेरे को Twitter पे DM कर दे.
No, I'm gonna copy image and can I send it on the chat here?
नहीं, यहाँ पे मत भेज. मेरे को DM में भेज.
Oh, Twitter DM. Okay, one
हाँ,
second.
easy पड़ेगा.
One second. Messages. Okay. Oh damn. Okay. I can't. Listen, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to show this myself. All right.
No problem.
So let me share screen. Okay. Now this is what a serpentine duct looks like. Okay. So what you see here is this side is the intake. What you see at the front of the aircraft. If you notice, it is curved like this because it completely blocks where the engine would come here perfectly round, and it is completely blocked off. So you don't have those rotating fan blades which reflect. So technically, if you look at it, this side is perfectly aligned with this side, except for this part going here, which completely blocks off visibility. So if you actually draw a straight line from here, from the bottom of the blue ring here, to the bottom of that, you will see there is actually zero line of sight. Right? Now look how it functions in real life. 1 second, let me just find the, yeah, there we go. Share. Okay, can you see this? This is the air intake of the YF-23, which was a competitor to the F-22. You can't see anything in there. Right. Now, it has also had a whole history of extremely shoddy construction. Let me show you this if I can find it. I've done a whole thread on it long back. Hang on. There were close-ups which were then removed for whatever reason. Anyway, basically you're looking at 80s 80s construction technique, which means the modern stealth stuff simply can't be built by the Russians. The kind of finishes required, which only surprisingly comes from consumer electronics. Because, consumers won't accept a certain level if you've got funny screws. Tell me, can you ever see if I remove this phone from its case? Mhm. Okay. You won't be able to see a single screw anywhere on this phone. It's done through internal adhesives and things like that. That is something you only get with consumer electronics. And it's a very important thing for stealth, especially. The construction technique of this matches that of a stealth aircraft, of any modern phone. Right? Why? Because screws, you'll always have that little cross in between to unscrew the screw. That is also a radar reflector. The more the screws, the more the radar reflection.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Every unevenness of surface is a radar reflector. Right? So the Russians don't have that. The Chinese are better at it because the Chinese, now look, Chinese have their own weaknesses. Chinese engines, I will any day choose a Russian engine over a Chinese engine. Because for what it's worth, even if it's stuck in 80s technology, the Russians' 80s engines are way better than the Chinese engines. But in terms of finish and materials, the Chinese are not. The Russians are still stuck in metallurgy. One of the frame of the Sukhoi 57 is made of a metal called, it's a alloy called Invar. Invar is one of those rare metal alloys which actually shrink with heat. They don't expand with heat. Right? So that's very useful for the exhaust where there's very high temperatures and things like that. But the West has moved on to composites and crystals, which neither expand nor contract. You understand? So they're still throwing old 80s science at 2020's problems. This is the problem with the Sukhoi. Now, let me tell you the problems with the F-35. First is that it is so networked. I am talking to you from my laptop. Okay. Now, your laptop, all of you watching this on a laptop or a mobile phone right now, think of your laptop or mobile phone as the F-35. You're very proud of it. It is high technology. It can do all kinds of funky stuff and things like that. Now imagine you had the same laptop or mobile phone in 1995. You won't able to do diddly shit with it. Other than being able to charge it, my laptop doesn't even have a LAN cable anymore. Most laptops don't come with a LAN cable. In those days, there was no internet. You couldn't do Google, you couldn't do video, you couldn't do squat. Your phone would at best be a glorified camera because there is no, forget 5G, there wasn't even 1G in those days. So it's a very advanced platform, but in order to get it and make it functional, you would have to set up 5G network, you would have to set up fiber optic cables, you'd have to set up you'd have to create the internet in your country. The kind of data networking required for it is insane. And then you will be bound to buy only American or American approved products, because non-American approved, non-NATO approved products cannot interface with it. Imagine you set up a 5G network for your iPhone and Apple suddenly says we will not allow you to receive signals on your iPhone because this is a Chinese network or Chinese 5G network that you've set up. That's how these things work. Okay,
So
so
you'll
you
have
can
compatibility issues.
huge compatibility issues. This is the same. It is compounding what happened at Balakot, where we shot down our own helicopter, and certain things which you know about and I know about that happened in this particular in Operation Sindoor, which we're not going to talk about in public. But this issue will just get worse. It'll just get worse. There's nothing you can do about it. And the kind of controls America has, basically everything you are able to see and intelligence you're able to gather, the Americans will know about it. Do you trust the Americans that much? Best of luck to you. We may not have an option. If the technological edge becomes so big, we may not have an option, but
That's
uh,
exactly what I was going to tell you, because the technological edge that they offer, the risk reward ratio, because I remember this is exactly what Angad and I were talking about here. And that's exactly what Angad said. Bolta hai ki, Angad kind of was like, listen, like the superiority of the product might kind of beat the other problems that people are looking at.
basically, that's probably what it's going to come down to.
And also from a geopolitical
But
perspective, right?
it needn't have been this way. It needn't have been this way. When everybody had you cracked down on all the laxity and kamchori happening with Tejas, you would have been well on your way to the AMCA today. You did not crack the whip. You did not sack people where there was clear proof of blatant criminal dereliction of duty. Then this is what you end up getting. Emergency purchases which don't suit you, which possibly even harm you. भुगतो कहते हैं ना, कल करे सो आज कर, आज करे सो अब, पल में परले होएगी बहुरी करेगा कब. This is exactly what you're talking about. About in 2014, DRDO had signed a deal with Saab. They were on the verge of signing a deal with Saab, saying essentially we'll turn the Tejas into the Gripen. Externally it'll be very different because there were certain things we wanted. We didn't want the kind of off-road capability, off-base capability the Gripen had. We wanted greater range, so there were certain things we would do, and essentially it would be a thing, and this entire plane would be ready in a year and a half. New DRDO chief comes and he cancels the deal. Consequences zero. And that is when Saab had enough and they decide to pull out of India. There were a lot of things you could have done. Smart things. And remember, Sweden's defense budget, Kushal, they've got the best-selling infantry combat vehicle in Europe, the CV-90. They've got an extremely successful aircraft in the Gripen, fighter aircraft. They've got an extremely successful AWACS aircraft in the Saab Ariai. Okay, they make sensational submarines which have been exported. They make possibly the stealthiest corvette. Let me show you this because people may not believe this. Let me show you this one by one. This B class corvette. Images. Okay, and I want to show you each one. Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Look how stealthy this is. You look at the front thing, all radar beams are going to bounce off this. This is their corvette. ठीक है? This is their AVAX, and their AVAX is so good. Let me show you a close up of this. Their AVAX is so good, it does air to air. See, this is the air to air component. It does naval detection as well. And apparently, it's got a ground moving target indicator, which means it can do land as well. Now, what happens in all of this is, do you know what the Swedish defense budget is?
Like in terms of percentage or what?
No, just overall.
I have no clue.
For most of the last 20 years, it's been something like about $8 billion.
That's it.
Yeah.
They clearly have specialization in some things then, and they're focusing there.
So what they do is, this is, let me show you the chart. Yeah. This is Swedish defense spending. This is, of course, as a percentage of GDP. Can you see this?
Hmm.
60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s down again. And since the invasion, of course, it's gone up. Okay, but this is how, on low budgets, they've produced their own fighter aircraft, their own AVAX aircraft, an infantry combat vehicle on the ground, two superlative naval products, stealthy submarines and stealthy corvettes. Do you know what India's defense budget is? 70 to 80 billion dollars. At 10 times that amount, you're not able to innovate like that.
And it's around 2.22 to 2 कितना है 2% है ना हमारा बजट का.
Yeah. Huh. But even in absolute numbers, we're not able to do what the Swedes are able to do. You know why? Because they don't insist on doing everything themselves. They harvest technology. So technically, even now, instead of going in for AMCA and things, all you need to do is, are you happy with the final LCA design? If not, go in, just buy the Gripen design. Ask them to redesign it as a stealth for you. There are 2-3 things you need for that kind of stealth. You've already got the ASA radar, which is pretty damn good. You basically need a 360-degree heat sensor to bypass radar. I mean, not entirely, but look, the Gripen has the kind of networking capabilities that the F-35 does. It's a non-stealth F-35 in that sense. Okay. The Swedish data link is up for sale because Sweden is discarded its own data link, not because it was bad. It was a very good product. And they've moved towards Link 16 because they've joined NATO. If you don't want the Gripen, okay. Are you happy with your Tejas right now? Then just develop a stealth around it, single engine. Because we need quantity right now. We neither have quantity nor do we have quality.
It kind of makes Operation Sindoor even more impressive.
It does. I mean, given the dysfunctionality, it was truly mind-boggling.
Kudos to
Okay.
our forces.
But you're dealing with Pakistan. Now imagine this with relation to China.